Every morning at exactly 6:40 a.m. before Chicago fully woke up, always 6:40. Not because of an alarm. Arielle's body learned the rhythm before her mind did. The aluminum container burns through Arielle's gloves. She kneels anyway. The cracked sidewalk bites into her knees, same two divots worn smooth by 6 months of mornings. Steam curls from the container's edge, fogging her breath in the January air. Across from her, Walter Hale sits with his back against the shuttered laundromat, gray coat buttoned to his throat despite the pre-dawn cold. 6:40 a.m. Always 6:40. Not because of an alarm. Arielle's body learned the rhythm before her mind did. End night shift at Providence Medical at 6:15. Stop at the corner store by 6:28. Meal here by 6:40. The city barely stirs this early. A distant L train rattles overhead, its sparks briefly lighting the empty storefronts along South Halsted. Walter extends both hands. The motion carries weight, like a formal exchange. Real quick, if you're hooked already, hit that subscribe button. We pour everything into stories like this, and we've got viewers watching from all over the world. Drop a quick comment. Where are you watching from and what time is it? Alright, back to the story. His palms face upward, fingers slightly spread. Arielle places the container between them. Their hands don't touch. Turkey sausage today, she says. Eggs. Little bit of cheese. Walter nods once. The gesture feels military, sharp, contained. His white beard catches the streetlight, trimmed with precision that doesn't match the threadbare coat or the wool blanket folded beside him. Thank you, Miss Brooks. He always uses her last name. She's corrected him twice. He keeps doing it. Arielle stands, brushes grit from her scrubs. The fabric still smells like antiseptic and old coffee. Her lower back aches from lifting a 200-pound stroke patient into bed 3 hours ago. Her student loan payment cleared yesterday, leaving $11.42 in checking until Friday. She bought the eggs anyway. Walter doesn't open the container yet. He waits until she walks away. She's learned that too. The first week, she glanced back and caught him staring at the food like it might vanish. Now she just heads straight for her car, parked 2 blocks down where the meters don't start until 8 o'clock. Behind her, she hears the soft pop of the container's lid. The Toyota's driver door groans when she pulls it. The interior light flickers, doesn't catch. Arielle slides behind the wheel, jams the key into the ignition. The engine turns over on the third try, coughing blue smoke into the alley. Her phone buzzes. Text from Providence. Mandatory staff MTG Friday 3 p.m., attendance required. She deletes it. Sleeps during mandatory meetings. The heater rattles but doesn't warm. Arielle pulls out, heading south toward Bronzeville. Streetlights blur past, yellow, 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 red. She stops. A man in a North Face puffer jogs across the intersection, headphones in, oblivious. Her hands tighten on the wheel. Walter's hands. She noticed them 2 weeks ago. Scars across the knuckles, thin, precise lines that didn't come from street fights. The way he holds the container, too. Formal. Controlled. Like he's been trained to receive something dangerous. The light turns green. Arielle drives. Her studio apartment smells like bleach and the neighbor's weed. She kicks off her sneakers by the door, peels out of her scrubs. The uniform drops into a laundry basket already overflowing. Washing costs $3.50 per load in the basement. She'll go Thursday. The shower runs cold for 2 minutes before the hot water kicks in. Arielle stands under the spray, letting it hammer her shoulders. Through the thin walls, someone's alarm goes off. Gospel music. A woman singing about grace. Arielle closes her eyes. Walter's voice echoes, Thank you, Miss Brooks. Not thanks. Not appreciated. Thank you. Like he's returning a salute. She towels off, crawls into bed. The mattress sags in the middle, Goodwill special, $40. Her phone buzzes again. She ignores it. Sleep comes in fragments. Hospital sounds leak through dreams. Beeping monitors. A woman crying in room 310. Someone coding in the ICU while she held compressions for 11 minutes. When she wakes, it's 2:47 p.m. Her phone shows 6 missed calls. All from Providence. And one text from a number she doesn't recognize. Stop coming. Please. No name. But she knows. Arielle stares at the screen until it goes dark. Outside, the city hums. The L train rattles past. Someone shouts in Spanish 3 floors down. Tomorrow is 6:40 a.m. Arielle skips breakfast. Not because she forgets. Because the eggs cost $4.89, and the turkey sausage another $6.50, and her debit card declined twice at the register before the cashier ran it as credit. The overdraft fee hit her account 14 minutes later. $35 for feeding someone else. She tells herself it's temporary. Just until Friday. Until the paycheck clears and she can transfer enough to cover utilities. The ComEd notice came yesterday, bright orange, impossible to ignore. Final notice in letters thick as her thumb. At Providence, the break room microwave smells like burnt popcorn and regret. Arielle fills a styrofoam cup with coffee so old it leaves film on her teeth. Shanice, another night nurse, watches from the corner table. You look like hell, Shanice says. 12-hour shift. You worked 14. Arielle shrugs. The motion pulls at something in her shoulder, old injury from moving her mother's hospital bed, years ago. Before everything collapsed. Shanice leans forward. You eating? I'm fine. That's not what I asked. Arielle dumps 2 sugar packets into the coffee. Stirs. The spoon scrapes ceramic, a sound that sets her teeth on edge. There's leftover sandwiches in the fridge, Shanice says quietly. From the pharmaceutical rep, nobody's gonna miss one. Arielle's stomach clenches. She ignores it. I said I'm fine. Shanice doesn't push. She's worked Providence long enough to recognize pride, and long enough to know it kills slower than most diseases. The shift stretches. Room 407 needs vitals every 2 hours. Room 310's daughter calls 4 times demanding updates the doctor won't give. In the ICU, a man with pneumonia struggles to breathe through a BiPAP mask, eyes wide with the kind of fear that doesn't fade. Arielle holds his hand until his oxygen saturation stabilizes. Her own hands shake. At 4:30 a.m., she clocks out. The parking garage elevator smells like urine and concrete. Her reflection in the steel doors looks hollow, dark circles, hair pulled back so tight her scalp aches. The corner store clerk nods when she enters. Same routine. She grabs eggs, sausage, a small container of shredded cheese. At the register, she pays cash. $11.82. Leaves her with $9.60 until Friday. The clerk slides the receipt across. You okay, miss? Arielle blinks. Why? You come in every morning. Buy the same thing. Never buy nothing for yourself. She stares at him. He's maybe 60, Pakistani maybe, with kind eyes that make her chest hurt. I'm fine, she says. He nods slow. Doesn't believe her. Outside, the cold hits like a fist. Arielle walks fast, container warming her palms. The street is empty except for a CTA bus hissing past and a man passed out in a doorway 3 shops down. Not Walter. She checks anyway. At the laundromat, Walter sits exactly where he always does. Same position. Same coat. Same folded blanket. But when she kneels, he doesn't extend his hands. "Miss Brooks," he says. Voice low. "Did you get my message?" Arielle sets the container down between them. "I don't have a phone plan," she lies. Walter's jaw tightens. For a moment, something flickers across his face, frustration maybe, or fear. "You need to stop," he says. "Why?" "Because," he stops. Looks away. "Some debts can't be repaid." Arielle stands. Her knees crack. "I'm not asking you to repay anything." She walks away before he can respond. Behind her, the container stays on the sidewalk. Unopened. The eviction notice isn't red. Arielle expected red. Angry color, urgent color. Instead, it's beige, taped to her apartment door with the same neutral tape the building manager uses for lease renewals. Notice of intent to evict, 14 days. She peels it off carefully, folds it twice, slides it into her scrubs pocket. The paper crinkles when she breathes. Inside, the apartment feels smaller. The walls press in, painted that industrial beige that landlords use to hide damage. Her furniture, Goodwill couch, scratched coffee table, mattress on the floor, looks temporary. Has always looked temporary. 14 days. Arielle sits on the couch. The spring's grown. Through the window, the city glows orange and gray, alive with people who have places to be, payments that clear, lives that don't hinge on $35 overdraft fees. Her phone buzzes. Providence HR, mandatory meeting rescheduled to Monday 2 p.m. Attendance required. Delete. ComEd, your payment of $187.43 is past due. Delete. Unknown, please stop coming. W. Her thumb hovers over the screen. She doesn't delete that one. The pawn shop on 47th Street has bulletproof glass and a bored teenager behind the counter. Arielle sets her mother's necklace on the velvet mat, gold-plated chain, small cross pendant. The only thing that survived the funeral costs. The teenager barely looks. 40, he says. It's worth more than that. Not to me. Arielle's hands curl into fists. The necklace catches fluorescent light, glinting. Her mother wore it every Sunday. To church. To the hospital during chemo. To the hospice bed where she died holding Arielle's hand. 50, Arielle says. The kid shrugs. 45. Final. She takes the cash. 6:40 a.m. comes like a threat. Arielle kneels on the sidewalk, container between her palms. Walter isn't there. Her heart kicks. She scans the block, closed storefronts, empty bus shelter, alleys stretching into darkness. No gray coat. No folded blanket. No trimmed white beard. Gone. Arielle stands, walks to where he usually sits. The concrete is cleaner than the rest of the sidewalk. Someone swept here. Recently. She touches the wall. Cold brick, rough under her fingertips. A sound, soft scrape of fabric on pavement. She turns. Walter emerges from the alley, moving slower than usual. His coat hangs open despite the cold. When he reaches the laundromat wall, he lowers himself carefully, like his joints hurt. You came, he says. You asked me not to. I did. Arielle kneels. Extends the container. Walter stares at it, doesn't move. Why are you doing this? He asks. Doing what? Feeding me. Spending money you don't have. Arielle's breath catches. How? Your shoes, Walter says quietly. Soles are separating. You're wearing the same scrubs 3 days in a row. And you're thinner than when we met. Heat floods her face. I'm fine. You're starving yourself to feed me. I'm not. Miss Brooks. Walter's voice sharpens. I know sacrifice when I see it. The words hang between them. Arielle sets the container down. Then you know I'm not stopping. Walter closes his eyes. His shoulders sag, some invisible weight pressing down. You should, he whispers. Why? Because kindness makes you visible. Invisible people get hurt. Arielle stands. Her knees ache, a deep bone tiredness that won't fade. I've been hurt before, she says. Walter looks up. For the first time in 6 months, she sees his eyes clearly, pale blue, sharp despite his age. Haunted. Not like this, he says. She walks away. The container stays on the sidewalk. Behind her, she hears him open it. Walter doesn't take the food. For mornings in a row. Arielle kneels. Walter sits. The container rests between them like a failed negotiation. On the 5th morning, he speaks. There are men, he says, who catalog debts. Arielle frowns. What? Men who keep ledgers. Every favor. Every act of mercy. Walter's hands rest on his knees, palms down. Formal. They wait until the debt becomes leverage. I don't understand. You will. The words settle like frost. Walter leans forward. The motion is precise, controlled, not the stiffness of age but the economy of training. When I was younger, he says quietly, I believed visibility meant valor. That being seen was the same as being right. His eyes fix on hers. I was wrong. What happened? I was noticed. A CTA bus hisses past. Its headlights sweep the sidewalk, briefly illuminating Walter's face. The scars on his knuckles. The military posture. The way he holds himself like a man waiting for orders. Arielle's pulse quickens. Who are you? She asks. Walter stands. The movement is too fast, too smooth. For a moment, he doesn't look 70. Doesn't look homeless. He looks like someone who could hurt her without effort. Then he sags, the illusion breaking. Someone who ran out of time, he says. He walks into the alley. The container stays on the sidewalk, untouched. Arielle brings it to work. The eggs are cold now, congealed. She eats them anyway, standing in the Providence break room at 7:15 a.m. Shanice watches from the doorway. That's sad as hell, she says. Arielle doesn't respond. You gonna tell me what's going on? Nothing's going on. Right. Shanice crosses her arms. That why you're eating cold eggs out of a to-go box at 7 in the morning? Arielle throws the container away. I'm fine. You keep saying that. Because it's true. Shanice steps closer. Her voice drops. Baby, I've worked here 11 years. I've seen nurses come through exhausted, broke, barely hanging on. You know what happens to the ones who don't ask for help? Arielle meets her eyes. They quit, Shanice says softly. Or worse. Arielle's jaw tightens. I'm not quitting. Then what are you doing? The question sits between them, unanswerable. 6:40 a.m. the next morning, the sidewalk is empty. No Walter. No blanket. No trace anyone was ever there. Arielle kneels anyway. The container burns through her gloves. Steam rises into the January air, disappearing. She waits. 5 minutes. 10. The L train rattles overhead. A woman walks past with a stroller. The city wakes around her, indifferent. Arielle stands. Her knees protest. She leaves the container on the sidewalk. Walks to her car. Drives home. The text comes at 9:17 a.m. St. Bernard Hospital, John Doe, elderly male, hypothermia. Are you family? Arielle's hand shakes so hard she drops the phone. St. Bernard's ER smells like bleach and panic. Arielle shoves through the double doors, still in her Providence scrubs. The triage nurse looks up, expression flat with exhaustion. I got a text, Arielle says. About a patient. John Doe. Elderly, hypothermia. Are you family? The word catches. No. But I know him. Walter Hale. The nurse's fingers hover over the keyboard. That's not the name in the system. He's homeless. He might not have given his real name. Then you'll need to wait. How long? Until we can verify. Is he alive? The nurse's expression doesn't change. She's heard this question 10,000 times, in 10,000 variations of desperation. I can't release patient information to non-family members. Arielle's hands grip the counter edge. The laminate is sticky, residue from someone else's crisis. Please, she whispers. Something shifts in the nurse's eyes. Not sympathy. Recognition. One exhausted healthcare worker seeing another. Base 6, she says quietly. But if anyone asks, you're his niece. Base 6 is separated from the hall by a pale blue curtain. Arielle pulls it aside. Walter lies on a gurney, skin the gray of old snow. And 4 runs into his left arm. Heated blankets cover his torso, but she can see him shivering underneath, violent tremors that shake the bed frame. A resident looks up from a chart. Young, maybe 30, with the hollow-eyed look of someone 16 hours into a shift. Family, he asks. Niece. He nods, too tired to question it. Severe hypothermia. Core temp was 86 when EMS brought him in. We're rewarming slowly, anything faster risks cardiac arrest. Arielle steps closer. Walter's eyes are closed, his breathing shallow. Will he? Her voice cracks. Is he going to make it? The resident's jaw tightens. If he'd stayed up there another hour? Probably not. The words land like a punch. Arielle reaches for Walter's hand. His fingers are ice, barely responsive. She wraps both her palms around them, trying to transfer warmth through skin. Who found him? She asks. Garbage truck driver. Saw him collapsed in an alley off Halstead. The alley. Where he walked 5 mornings ago. Where he said he'd run out of time. Arielle's throat burns. She blinks hard, refusing to let tears fall in front of the resident. How long will he be here? Depends on the warming protocol. Could be hours. Could be days. The resident makes a note on the chart. You should go home. Get some rest. We'll call if. I'm staying. He glances up. Sees something in her face that makes him nod. I'll have the nurse bring a chair. Time moves wrong in hospitals. Arielle sits beside base 6, watching the monitor count Walter's heartbeats. 53. 54. The rhythm steadies as his body temperature climbs. 87 degrees. 88. She doesn't leave. Not when the shift changes. Not when a social worker comes by asking questions Arielle can't answer. Not when her own phone buzzes with Providence asking where she is. At 91 degrees, Walter's eyes flutter open. He sees her. Miss Brooks, he whispers. Arielle leans forward. Don't talk. You're in the hospital. You're safe. Walter's hand twitches in hers. Weak. Barely there. I told you, he breathes. To stop coming. Tears blur her vision. Shut up. You should have listened. Why? Her voice breaks. Why did you want me to stop? Walter's eyes close. For a moment, she thinks he's unconscious again. Then he speaks, so quietly she has to lean in to hear. Because when they find me, he whispers, they'll find you too. The doctor pulls Arielle aside 3 hours later. He's stable, she says. Vitals are improving. We're moving him to a regular room for observation. Relief floods through Arielle's chest. Can I see him? The doctor hesitates. He's asking for you. But, she glances at the chart. He also said something strange when we admitted him. Arielle's pulse quickens. What? He said to tell you to go home. Lock your door. And don't answer when they knock. The fluorescent lights hum overhead. Who? Arielle asks. Who's going to knock? The doctor shakes her head. He wouldn't say. Just kept repeating it until the sedative kicked in. Arielle walks to the hospital exit on numb legs. The sky is dark now. How long has she been here? 6 hours? 8? Her car sits alone in the visitor's lot. She climbs inside, locks the doors. Drives home through streets that feel suddenly hostile. At her apartment building, she parks and sits in the Toyota, engine ticking as it cools. Don't answer when they knock. She gets out. Climbs the stairs to her floor. The hallway is empty. Her door is closed. Arielle unlocks it. Steps inside. Locks it behind her. The apartment is dark, silent. She doesn't turn on the lights. Just stands there, listening to her own heartbeat, waiting. At 11:47 p.m., someone knocks. Arielle doesn't move. The knock comes again. 3 measured strikes, not urgent, not aggressive. Official. She presses her back against the door, phone clutched in her right hand. The screen casts blue light across her palm. 911 typed but not sent. Ms. Brooks? A male voice. Deep. Controlled. We know you're home. Your car is in the lot. Her breath stops. We're not here to hurt you, the voice continues. We need to speak with you about Walter Hale. Arielle's pulse hammers in her ears. Through the peephole, she sees 2 shapes. Dark uniforms. Not police. The fabric is different, pressed, formal. Military. Ms. Brooks, please. It's important. She should call 911. Should scream. Should do anything except stand here frozen while strangers say her name through a locked door at midnight. Instead, she opens it. 2 men stand in the hallway. Both in dress uniforms, army, she thinks, though she doesn't know ranks. The older one has silver hair and 4 stars on his shoulder boards. The younger wears a gold oak leaf. Major and General. The general removes his cap. I apologize for the late hour, he says. May we come in? Arielle's hand tightens on the door frame. Show me ID. The general nods. Pulls a military ID from his jacket. She doesn't know what she's looking for. The photo matches his face. The hologram shifts when she tilts it, but it looks real. What do you want? She asks. To talk about the man you've been feeding. Walter. No, the major says quietly. Not Walter. They sit in her living room. The general takes the Goodwill couch. The major stands by the window, hands clasped behind his back. Arielle perches on the coffee table edge, too wired to relax. How long have you known him? The general asks. 6 months. Almost 7. And in that time, did he ever mention his past? No. His family? His work? He doesn't talk much. The general exchanges a glance with the major. Something unspoken passes between them. Ms. Brooks, the general says carefully, the man you know as Walter Hale is not who he claims to be. Arielle's stomach drops. Then who is he? The major steps forward. Sets a folder on the coffee table. Thick manila, stamped with red letters, classified. That, the major says, is complicated. Arielle stares at the folder. Doesn't touch it. Is he dangerous? No, the general says. Not to you. Then why are you here? The general leans forward, elbows on his knees. His voice drops. Because he disappeared 8 years ago. And until 4 days ago, we thought he was dead. The apartment walls press in. How did you find him? Arielle whispers. He was admitted to St. Bernard Hospital under a false name, the major says. But his fingerprints flagged in the VA system. Walter's prints are in a government database? The general's expression hardens. General William Harlan's prints are. The name hangs in the air like smoke. Arielle's hands start shaking. I don't understand. The general opens the folder. Inside is a photograph, military portrait, dress uniform, chest covered in medals. The man in the photo is younger, clean-shaven, hair dark instead of white. But the eyes are the same. Pale blue. Haunted. Walter. Oh my God, Arielle breathes. The photograph trembles in Arielle's hands. General William Harlan. 3 stars visible on the uniform collar. Ribbons she doesn't recognize covering his left breast. Behind him, an American flag and the seal of the 101st Airborne Division. This was taken in 2015, the general says. His name tag reads Morrison. Kabul. 6 months before the incident. What incident? Morrison's jaw tightens. The one that ended his career. The major, Peters, his name tag says, moves to the window. Pulls the curtain aside, scans the street below. The gesture is automatic, professional. Checking for threats. In January 2017, Morrison begins. General Harlan commanded a night raid on a suspected Taliban weapons cache outside Kandahar. Intelligence said the building was empty. Civilian-free. Arielle's stomach clenches. It wasn't, she whispers. No. Morrison's voice is granite. 12 civilians died. 7 of them children. The room tilts. Morrison continues, words coming faster now, like he's reciting from a classified report. The intelligence was faulty. The coordinates were wrong. But Harlan gave the green light. And when the bodies were counted, when the footage hit Al Jazeera, then CNN, then everywhere, he took full responsibility. He didn't have to, Peters adds from the window. Chain of command would have absorbed it. Spread the blame up and down. But Harlan stood in front of Congress and said the words no general says. What words? It was my fault. Mine alone. Arielle sets the photo down before she drops it. What happened to him? He resigned, Morrison says. Honorably. No court-martial, no public trial. The Pentagon wanted it quiet. Harlan wanted it over. Morrison pulls another document from the folder, a resignation letter, signed in neat handwriting. 2 weeks later, he cashed out his pension. Transferred it to an anonymous fund for Afghan civilian casualties. All of it? Every cent. Peters turns from the window. He kept exactly $0. Then he checked out of his apartment in Arlington, left his car in the parking garage, and vanished. Morrison spreads more documents across the coffee table. Bank records. Hotel receipts. A timeline tracking William Harlan's movements from Virginia to Illinois. The trail ends in Chicago, 8 years ago. We looked, Morrison says quietly. FBI, military police, private investigators. His daughter hired a firm that searched for 3 years. Nothing. Arielle's throat closes. He has a daughter? Had. Peter's voice is flat. Cancer. Died in 2021. She never knew where he went. The words land like bullets. Morrison produces another photo. A young woman, maybe 30, dark hair, smiling at a college graduation. She has Harlan's eyes. Emily, Morrison says. She kept hoping he'd come home. Kept a room ready in her house. Kept calling his disconnected number. Arielle's vision blurs. Why didn't he go back? Guilt, Peter says simply. He didn't think he deserved forgiveness. Morrison closes the folder. We stopped looking 5 years ago. Declared him legally dead in 2022. His daughter's estate was settled. His name was added to a memorial wall at Fort Campbell. Then how? Your 911 call. Arielle blinks. I didn't call 911. The garbage truck driver did. When Harlan was admitted to St. Bernard, they ran his fingerprints through the VA health system for benefits eligibility. Morrison leans back. The system flagged a deceased veteran with active prints. Alert went to Arlington. Arlington called us. Peters moves closer. Ms. Brooks, you need to understand. William Harlan is a ghost. Not just to the Army. To himself. He erased his existence because he believed the world was better without him in it. That's not true. Isn't it? Morrison's voice hardens. 12 children died under his command. His daughter died thinking he abandoned her. He spent 8 years on the streets punishing himself for decisions made in a war zone. Morrison stands. That man is broken, Ms. Brooks. And you've been feeding the pieces. Arielle stands too. Her legs shake but hold. So what do you want from me? Morrison and Peters exchange glances. We want to bring him home, Morrison says. He doesn't want to come home. He needs medical care. Psychiatric evaluation. He's a decorated war hero living in an alley. He's a person, Arielle snaps. Who made a choice? A choice born from trauma. It's still his choice. Morrison's expression softens. Ms. Brooks, I understand you feel. You don't understand anything. Arielle's voice cracks. You're here because a database told you to be here. I've been kneeling on that sidewalk for 6 months because it was the right thing to do. Peters steps forward. We're not the enemy. Then why does this feel like an interrogation? Silence falls. Morrison picks up the folder. Tucks it under his arm. Where is he now? Arielle asks. Street Bernard released him this morning. Her heart stops. Where did he go? We don't know, Peters admits. He checked himself out AMA. Against medical advice. Walked out the front door at 6:15 a.m. The time hits her like ice water. 6:15 a.m. Exactly when she'd be leaving Providence. Exactly when he knew she'd be on her way to the sidewalk. He left so she wouldn't find him. Morrison moves toward the door. Peters follows. If you see him, Morrison says, call this number. He hands her a card. DOD letterhead. Direct line. And if I don't? Morrison meets her eyes. Then you're the only person in the world who knows William Harlan is still alive. The door closes behind them. Arielle stands in her empty apartment, card clutched in her hand. Outside, a car engine starts. Fades. She looks at the photograph still lying on her coffee table. General William Harlan stares back. Somewhere in Chicago, Walter is walking alone. Arielle doesn't sleep. At 4:30 a.m., she gives up pretending. Pulls on jeans and a sweatshirt. Grabs her keys. The city is still dark when she parks near the laundromat. The sidewalk is empty. No gray coat. No folded blanket. The concrete where Walter sat for 6 months looks abandoned, a stage after the performance ends. She kneels anyway. Sets a container of cold eggs on the ground. Waits. The L train rattles overhead. A delivery truck rumbles past. The corner store flickers to life, neon open sign buzzing. 6:40 comes and goes. Arielle doesn't move. At 7:15, footsteps approach from the alley. Walter emerges slowly, leaning on a wooden cane she's never seen before. His coat is buttoned wrong. His face is thinner, carved down to bone and shadow. He stops when he sees her. "You know," he says. Not a question. "Yes." Walter's shoulders sag. He moves to the wall, lowers himself carefully. The cane clatters against brick. "They had no right to tell you." "They had every right." Arielle's voice is steel. "Your daughter died thinking you abandoned her." Walter flinches like she struck him. "Emily." The name breaks in his mouth. "I couldn't," he stops. Starts again. "If she'd known what I did, she would have forgiven you." "No. You don't know that." "I do." Walter's hands shake on the cane. "Because I can't forgive myself." Arielle stands. Walks closer. Kneels directly in front of him, close enough to see the moisture gathering in his pale eyes. 12 children, she says quietly. Walter's jaw clenches. "I've read the reports," she continues. Lying. She hasn't read anything. But she needs him to talk. "I know what happened in Kandahar." "Then you know there's no redemption for that." "Is that what you think you're doing? On this sidewalk? Redemption? I think I'm disappearing." Walter meets her eyes. "The way I should have 8 years ago." Arielle's hands curl into fists. "That's not your choice anymore. It's the only choice I have left." "No." Her voice cracks. "You have the choice to let people help you. To accept that you're human. That you made a terrible mistake in an impossible situation and it doesn't mean you deserve to die alone in an alley." Walter looks away. "You don't understand." "Then make me understand." Silence. A CTA bus hisses past. Someone shouts in the distance. Walter's voice comes out raw. "I see their faces. Every night. Every morning. 12 children who'll never grow up because I gave an order based on bad intelligence and institutional arrogance." His hands tremble violently now. "I commanded men to pull triggers. And when the smoke cleared." He stops. Breathes. "When the smoke cleared, there were bodies. Small bodies. And my soldiers standing there covered in their blood, asking me what to do." Arielle's throat burns. "So I resigned," Walter continues. "Gave away every dollar I'd earned serving a country that trusted me to make better decisions. And I came here, to this sidewalk, because I thought maybe," his voice breaks. "Maybe if I could be invisible enough, forgotten enough, I could finally just stop existing." "But you didn't stop existing." "No." Walter looks at her. "Because you wouldn't let me." The words sit between them like an accusation. "I didn't know," Arielle whispers. "I know. If I had, you would have done the same thing." Walter's expression softens. "Because that's who you are, Miss Brooks. Someone who sees invisible people and refuses to look away." Arielle wipes her eyes. "The generals want you to come back." "I'm not going back. They can help you. They'll put me in a VA hospital and call it closure." Walter shakes his head. "I don't want closure. I want consequences. Living on the street isn't consequences. It's just slow suicide." Walter doesn't deny it. Arielle stands. Picks up the food container. Holds it out. Eat, she says. I'm not hungry. I don't care. Eat. Walter stares at her. Something shifts in his expression, surprise maybe, or the faint shadow of a smile. He takes the container. Opens it. Eats cold eggs with his hands while Arielle watches. When he's finished, he sets it down carefully. Thank you, he says. For what? For not giving up on me. Even though you should have. Arielle's chest tightens. That's not how this works, General. Walter closes his eyes. Don't call me that. It's who you are. It's who I was. No. Arielle kneels again. It's who you'll always be. Whether you're on this sidewalk or in Arlington or anywhere else. You don't get to erase yourself just because you're ashamed. Walter opens his eyes. They're wet. What do you want from me? He whispers. Arielle doesn't hesitate. I want you to live. 3 days pass. Arielle brings food. Walter accepts it. They don't talk about generals or daughters or dead children. They talk about small things. Weather. The L train schedule. How the corner store raised the price of eggs by 60 cents. On the 4th day, Walter isn't alone. A younger man sits beside him, maybe 40, wearing clean jeans and a North Face jacket that looks new. He has the same posture Walter does. Same watchful eyes. Miss Brooks, Walter says when she approaches. This is Marcus. Marcus nods. Doesn't smile. Arielle kneels. Sets down 2 containers instead of 1. Army, she asks Marcus. Marines. Fallujah, 2006. His voice is quiet. Got out in 09. Been out here since 11. Walter's hand rests on Marcus's shoulder. Brief. Paternal. I told him about you, Walter says. Arielle's chest tightens. Told him what? That someone comes. Every morning. No matter what. Marcus stares at the food container like it might vanish. Eggs? Walter asks. Turkey sausage, Arielle says. Both of them. Marcus picks up his container. Opens it slowly. Thank you, he whispers. Arielle watches him eat. Watches Walter watch him eat. Something passes between the 2 men, recognition, maybe. The silent language of people who've seen the same nightmares. How long have you known each other? She asks. 3 days, Walter says. He was sleeping in the alley. I gave him my blanket. Of course he did. Marcus finishes eating. Sets the container down with the same careful precision Walter uses. You should come back tomorrow, Walter says to him. Marcus's eyes widen. You sure? Yes. What about, Marcus glances at Arielle. She brings enough, Walter says simply. Arielle's throat burns. The pattern shifts. One morning, Marcus is there. The next, a woman named Teresa, 60s, diabetic, living in her car since her rent went up. Then a kid who can't be older than 19, eyes hollow with something Arielle recognizes from the ER. Walter doesn't ask Arielle to feed them. She does it anyway. 4 containers. Then 5. Then 7. Her bank account screams. She picks up extra shifts. Skips lunch. Wears the same scrubs 4 days running. On the 8th morning, Morrison appears. He stands across the street, watching. Doesn't approach. Just observes Arielle kneeling on the sidewalk, handing out food to 7 people who've learned to gather at 6:40 a.m. Walter sees him too. He's been there 3 days, Walter says quietly. I know. He wants me to come back. I know that too. Walter is silent for a moment. Then, I'm thinking about it. Arielle's hands freeze on a container. What changed? Walter gestures to the circle of people eating around them. This. You. The fact that disappearing didn't work because you wouldn't let it. Across the street, Morrison makes a phone call. Speaks briefly. Hangs up. If I go back, Walter says slowly, will you keep doing this? Yes. Even without me? Arielle looks at Teresa, at Marcus, at the kid whose name she still doesn't know. Especially without you. Walter nods. Something loosens in his expression, not peace, not forgiveness, but maybe the faint outline of acceptance. Okay, he says. Okay, what? I'll talk to him. Morrison crosses the street. Walter stands. The two men face each other, general and general, separated by 8 years and an ocean of guilt. Sir, Morrison says quietly. Don't, Walter replies. I'm not your commanding officer anymore. You'll always be my commanding officer. Walter's jaw works. I can't go back to who I was. I'm not asking you to. Morrison's voice is firm. I'm asking you to come home. Get help. Let us, he glances at Arielle. Let people help you. Walter looks at the sidewalk. At the 7 people still eating. At Arielle kneeling among them. On one condition, he says. Name it. You fund this. Walter gestures to the food, the people. A program. Official. Through the VA. So she doesn't have to choose between rent and eggs. Morrison's expression doesn't change. Done. You're agreeing too fast. Because it should have existed years ago. Walter extends his hand. Morrison takes it. The handshake lasts 3 seconds. Neither man speaks. Then Morrison steps back. There's a car waiting. Whenever you're ready. He walks away. Walter turns to Arielle. I don't know if this will work, he says. It doesn't have to work perfectly. It just has to be better than this. Walter almost smiles. Almost. Will you visit? He asks. Yes. Even if I'm in a hospital? Especially then. Walter picks up his cane. Takes one last look at the sidewalk where he's spent 6 months disappearing. Then he follows Morrison to the waiting car. Arielle watches until the taillights fade. Around her, 7 people finish eating in silence. Marcus speaks first. Tomorrow? Tomorrow, Arielle confirms. She gathers the empty containers. Drives to work. At 3 p.m., an email arrives from an address she doesn't recognize. Subject, VA Community Outreach Initiative, funding approved. Attached, grant application. Amount, $50,000 annually. Purpose, daily meal service, South Halsted Street. Contact for administration, Arielle Brooks. She reads it twice. Then a third time. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number, some debts can't be repaid. Only continued. WH. Arielle closes her eyes. Breathes. 2 weeks later, a package arrives. Inside, a folded American flag. A handwritten note. This flew over Kabul. Then Kandahar. Then nowhere for 8 years. I want you to have it. Not because you earned it, you didn't serve. But because you did something harder. You saw someone the world forgot and refused to look away. That's its own kind of valor. William. Arielle unfolds the flag carefully. Beneath it, a second envelope. Plane ticket to Arlington, Virginia. One way. Departure date, open. 6 months later. Arielle kneels on the same sidewalk at 6:40 a.m. 15 people gather now. The VA funding bought a folding table, insulated containers, a lockbox for supplies. Marcus helps her set up. Teresa pours coffee. The kid, his name is Jordan, hands out napkins. It's not a ritual anymore. It's a program. The corner store clerk donates day-old bread on Thursdays. Providence Medical sends expired but safe supplies. A local church started a clothing drive. Arielle coordinates everything from her apartment, the same studio in Bronzeville, though the eviction notice never came. Morrison called the landlord. Made it clear certain tenants were under federal protection. She didn't ask questions. At 7 a.m., her phone buzzes. Unknown number, I'm coming back. Her breath catches. She calls the number. It rings 4 times. Miss Brooks. Walter's voice. Stronger than she's heard in months. Where are you? Arlington. Walter Reed Medical Center. Psychiatric wing. How are you? Silence. Then, better. Not good. But better. That's enough. Is it? For now. Walter exhales slowly. I got your letters. Arielle has written him every week. Updates on the program. Stories about Marcus and Teresa. Photos of the sidewalk at dawn. I wanted you to know it's working, she says. It's working because of you. No. It's working because you let people see you. Another silence. I'm being discharged next month, Walter says. They're recommending outpatient care. Medication. Therapy. Will you do it? Yes. The word settles like a promise. There's something else, Walter continues. The Army is offering a formal ceremony. Reinstatement of honors. Public recognition. Arielle's grip tightens on the phone. Are you going to accept? I don't know. Morrison says I should. Says I've punished myself enough. What do you say? Walter is quiet for a long time. I say I don't deserve it. But maybe that's not the point. What is the point? That people like you exist. And somehow, against all evidence, you refuse to give up on people like me. Arielle's eyes burn. Where are you coming back? She whispers. 3 weeks. I'll text you the flight details. I'll pick you up. You don't have to. I know. Walter's breath hitches. Thank you, Miss Brooks. Arielle, she says. You can call me Arielle. Arielle, he repeats. Testing the sound. The line goes quiet. Not dead. Just waiting. I'll see you soon, Walter says. 3 weeks, Arielle confirms. She hangs up. Across the sidewalk, Marcus is watching. Good news? He asks. Arielle slips the phone into her pocket. He's coming home. Marcus nods. Doesn't ask who. He already knows. The L train rattles overhead. The corner store opens. The city wakes around them. Arielle kneels one more time. Hands out food to 15 people who've learned that 6:40 a.m. means community. When the containers are empty, she packs up the table. Drives to Providence. At her locker, taped inside the door, is the plane ticket. One way to Arlington. Departure date still blank. She touches it once. Gently. Then closes the locker. Goes to work. 3 weeks and 2 days later, Arielle stands in O'Hare Arrivals. The screen shows landed. She waits. Passengers stream through the gate. Families. Business travelers. College kids with overstuffed backpacks. Then she sees him. Walter Harlan walks slowly, cane in his left hand, small duffel bag over his shoulder. He's clean-shaven. Hair trimmed. He's wearing a button-down shirt she's never seen before. He looks like someone who started believing he might deserve to exist. Their eyes meet. Walter stops. Sets down the duffel. And for the first time in 8 years, General William Harlan smiles. Arielle crosses the terminal. Stops 3 feet away. "Welcome home," she says. Walter's voice breaks. "I never thought I'd hear those words again." "Get used to it." He laughs. "Once. Quiet. Real." Arielle picks up his duffel. They walk toward the exit together. Behind them, the arrivals board updates. Ahead, the sliding doors open onto Chicago, cold, indifferent, alive. Somewhere in the city, 15 people are waking up. Checking the time. Heading toward a sidewalk on South Halsted Street. Because at 6:40 a.m., someone will be kneeling. Someone will be handing out food. And invisible people will be seen. Walter came home. But the question is, will show up? Look, this isn't just a story. This is happening right now. In your city. In your neighborhood. People are disappearing, not because they want to, but because they think no one cares. If this story moved you, prove it. Here's what we need you to do. We don't make fluff content. We make stories that matter. Every week. Every video. If you're not subscribed, you're literally missing the best storytelling on this platform. Answer this: what would you have done in Arielle's position? Would you keep showing up? Would you walk away when the soldiers knocked? Tell me in the comments. Share this. Tag someone who needs to hear this. Your mom. Your friend who works in healthcare. That person who's always helping others and forgetting themselves. Because stories like this don't go viral by accident. They go viral because people like you decide they matter.